It's really good to see all of you. It's really, really good to see you all here. Um, we I want to welcome you into this space. Um, each week, I like to give us a chance to come together as different individuals, but get a chance to be able to slow down into a space that's a deeper connection, deeper reflection, and also like just more alignment. And so, as we do this here, this experience is something where each week I find different ways to serve and support during the month of April. I'm going to use this in terms of U.S. Eastern time, but on Monday nights, U.S. Eastern time, we come together and it's really more of a problem solving experience. We have a mastermind, we're asking questions, and we're trying to find different ways to navigate our paths right now. On Tuesday nights, we come together and it's more leadership focused. We take some time to go through a skill that will continue to support you and also just help you align as a leader as you continue to move forward. Today, Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, our focus here is really around community and connection. So each of you are here because I see you all as being trailblazers. I see you as being people who have continued to succeed despite the odds, to find your own unconventional but like true path, and you've been able to do it in a way that also brings others together. And so, for me here, this space here is really a time for you all to get to know one another. It's really cool. My criteria for this year is I want to bring the most interesting, most intimidating, and most inspiring people that I know all together into like one space and give them a chance to get to know one another and see what comes from there. Right. So that's really the premise behind all of this here today. And what I'll say here is that like each of you, I want you to know that you're in good company. You're already in good company. So we're going to go through, and we'll go through the session for us today. But before we do, I want to make sure we all get a chance to really enter this room. Right. What I mean by that is to give us a chance to each speak and also just really arrive here. So I'm going to invite you, if you have anything in front of you, to put that down, to go ahead and get your feet and firmly place them flat on the floor, to find yourself seated wherever you are in your chair, and just allow that to really support you, to feel the support of the chair in you. And then you can just go ahead. We're just going to do just some light breathing. Go ahead and breathe in through your nose, down through your back, and into your belly. And just let it out with a relaxing sigh. And then 3 more times in through the nose, down through the back, and into your belly. And keep breathing that way. And as you're breathing, allow with each breath for you to let more of anything that would distract you to fall away. Deep breathing in through the nose. And then also allow yourself to ground more into this moment right now. Keep breathing. I'm going to talk a little bit to help set the stage for today. You chose to be here for a reason. And I wanted you to just get in touch with that reason right now. There's a different space that I create here. I'm not here to give you anything other than a powerful experience with some really powerful people. You are here for something. So I want to make sure that you tap into what that is for you. And we let that guide us throughout this conversation. All right, take one more cleansing breath in through the nose, down through the back, down into the pits of your belly, and let it out with a sigh as loud as you would like. Nice. Jamin, Angie, David, April, it's great to see you all. Well, what I'd love to do is give us all a chance to enter this room, right? So what I'll do is I'll ask you to introduce yourself with your name, where you are in the world, and also share one thing that you are doing to take care of yourself at this time. All right, we'll start with Jamin, then we'll go to Angie, then we'll go to David.
Right. Niiamah, thank you so much for the invitation and for creating such a powerful frame and context for the container that we're stepping into. I've got a high level of trust of this community already, just because I back you, and I back the people that you would invite into this space. So thank you, guys. My name's Jamin. I'm currently in Bali. I've been in Bali for 3 weeks now. If you can't tell already, I'm from Australia originally. Over the last 3 years, I've spent very little time in Australia, and right now, something I've been very intentional about cultivating over the last 12 months is I call them my daily disciplines, which I sometimes refer to as my daily sacred choices, which are effectively a set of behaviors and intentions that I know fill my cup, both in the morning, throughout the day, or in the evening. And I'm big on ritual and in quite a pragmatic sense. And for me, this whole coronavirus situation with the kind of lockdownedness has just given me the space to really own my daily sacred choices, my daily disciplines. So specifically, I think probably, there's quite a list, but if I was to speak into I'll say the 3 that are making the biggest difference for me. I'm actually in preparation for my first ultra marathon, which is a 90-kilometer mountain race in the French Alps, which is scheduled for the end of June. And they're still sitting on the fence as to whether they're going to run it or not. Everyone's getting quite upset about that. But I'm like, regardless of whether it runs or not, I'm still going to honor a 90-kilometer run on that day. And so I found just the discipline of sticking with that training has been really anchoring and grounding for me. The other is I've created a tool. I've created a Facebook group, and it has 1 member, and it's called The Secret Life of Jamin Heppel. And every day I just do my own journal, either a video or just like a reflection with some guiding questions. And I find that just like anything that might be there for me energetically, I just get a chance to like just declare that and get it out, which then just helps me be more present in my physical reality. And then the other one is meditation, which I've had a pretty consistent practice over the last year, but it's certainly become more consistent since things have kind of slowed down a lot. So that's generally speaking what's helped keep my cup full in this time. So I'm checked in.
Thank you, Jamin. It's great to have you here. Angie, how about you?
So hi everybody, my name's Angie Magazzino. I am based in Washington, D.C. in the U.S. I don't know really exactly where to start, but the question or the word that came to mind when Niiamah was leading us through our opening and stage setting there is that the reason I am here is curiosity, and not just curiosity of this experience itself, but actually just that overall, I think I'm in a space because of all that's happened with the coronavirus over the last several weeks, where I'm generally reassessing everything, and I'm sort of just acknowledging that, similar to Jamin, I really love routine and pattern, but I've taken a big step back from a lot of those things and tried to understand why I do what I do and if I want to continue with it. And we're in our 3rd week of lockdown here in Washington, D.C., and I'm really starting to recognize what I'm keeping and what I'm setting aside as conscious choices, even though over the last 2 weeks I think it was largely unconscious. So I'm curious about this room and the folks here and this space, but also I'm curious about pretty much everything in my own life right now, in any way that I can get support or insight on how to explore that in ways that will lead me when we come out of this, whatever that phrase means, into an existence that I feel even better about than when this all started.
Thank you, Angie. It's great to have you here.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, come on in. And welcome to everyone that's joining. Go with us, Dave, and just share with us your name, where you are, and what was the prompt that I had beforehand?
What do you think? What are you doing?
One thing you're doing to take care of yourself
Take care of
at this time. Thank you.
All right. Well, hello. My name is David Gibson. I am currently in New Jersey. So it's a pretty heavy experience here when it comes down to the coronavirus. You know, anyone basically on the East Coast. I know she had mentioned DC, but like in Jersey and New York. So one thing I found actually during this lockdown was that has helped me a lot was really taking the time to slow down and check up like on other people. You know, I'd find myself, you know, calling family members I haven't called in a while and friends I haven't talked to in a while, just, you know, just to see how, you know, everyone else is doing, how everyone else is making through it. And, you know, listening to their experience, you know, helped me ground myself a little bit during these times, because these times require a lot of adaptation for me, because I spend about 70%, at least 70% of the month traveling, at least over the last year. So I spend most of my time, you know, traveling all over the country. So just to go from that to just a quick shift of being locked down is definitely been an experience, you know. So we're about a few weeks into it, but, you know, I'm real curious to see, you know, the rest of the community and how everyone else, you know, handles and making it through this.
Thanks, Dave. It's great to have you here. Really good
Right
to have
on.
you here.
Likewise, Nemo.
Hey, April. So you're not muted, but your audio is not coming through right now. And it is not. So yeah, we'll give you a chance to oh, you're back now. Here you are.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So I was just getting ready to check settings. Technology. Hi, I'm April. I am located in DC. What's up, Angie? Hello. Urban I hanging out. What's the question? What
is one thing you're doing to take care of yourself during this time?
So can I call myself out? I'm not doing a very good job. Daily disciplines really resonated with me. Yeah, I'm not really disciplined. Sleeping a lot and thinking a lot and managing anxiety really well, but at the same time, not really disciplined. So I am here for connection. I'm an entrepreneur, so it gets really lonely. And I'm just here to connect with other like-minded people.
Thank you, April. And I'm going to ask you this question one more time, because I think it would be important. Regardless of all things you're not doing, what is one thing that you are doing to take care of yourself?
I am connecting with people more meaningfully, more carefully than I have before.
I want to make sure we give space to acknowledge that as well. Awesome. It's great to have you here, April.
Thank you.
Quinn, nice to see you. Good morning to you. We'd love to bring you into this. Good morning. Love to bring you into this experience. We are sharing our names, where we're located in the world, and one thing that we're doing to take care of ourselves during this time.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Niiamah, for the invitation. I'm Huyên from Ho Chi Minh City right now. One thing that I have been and will be doing to take care of myself is to do some yoga. Right now, I just woke up, so I might mute myself to do some stretching. That has been very helpful.
Awesome. Yeah. And this is an invitation. Great to have you here, firstly. All right. this is an invitation for all of you to do whatever you need to during this time here, right? We'll be having discussions. We might break into breakout rooms. I'd love to see who's here and then see what the space needs. So sometimes we'll go off into other areas, and other times it's just us being able to just be with one another in this space. And I'm kind of getting a sense that might be where we go for today, right? So throughout this conversation, I just want to make sure that we have some agreements that we all feel good about, right? And so I'm just going to go through some agreements, and then you can just raise your hand and just let me know that this will work for you. We have enough people. I want to make sure this is with. Okay. And so with an agreement, you can say yes or no. And if we need to adjust it, we will, right? The first thing here is that for this conversation, I'm going to lead, but you're in control. I'm going to lead, but you're in control. And what that means is that we'll take the conversation. I'll lead the conversation in different places, but you all can share to decide what you want to share, how hard you want to play. If you'd like to up the ante in different ways and deepen the connections in different ways, I'm going to lead, but you're in control. Right. So that's one. Is that something that we're good with in this conversation? Any questions on that too? Let me see. I don't see any. I'm seeing good. Okay, cool. The second thing here is throughout this conversation, no one here needs any fixing. That's a big thing for me. Like, you are all some of the most, like, I love each and every one of you, and you're all just outstanding people. And so I want to just set the framework that, like, we might share some things in this conversation that might give you different thoughts around how we might be able to help someone else throughout this. And I don't think that's not what this space is in that sense. We'll be able to support in different ways, but just know that no one here needs any fixing, right? And if there is something that comes to you where you're like, oh, there's an idea or something like that, I'm just going to invite you to take a few breaths on it and then see if there's any wisdom in what it is that you wanted to share outwards that might be actually applying back to you. And I say that very deliberately. That's one of my favorite tools in terms of growth, to see what it is, what am I actually saying out loud? Because I typically can't bring that same mirror back to me. Right. So we're going to enter this space and be in a place where, what it is that, basically we're going to keep that in mind. Does everyone have any questions on that there? No one here needs fixing. Cool. All right. You have a question, April, or? Okay.
That's thumbs up.
Are we in agreement with that? Hands here.
Hands.
Awesome. All right. Awesome. And then the last thing here is just when we share here, we're going to share about our experience. And when I mean our experience, I mean your individual experience. So you might go in a place and you might hear something that someone else has said and such. We're looking to see what that experience meant to you individually, rather than an extrapolation of what someone else said. And this is just sometimes it's really interesting because I know we want to connect and we want to like kind of bounce off and piggyback off of others as a form of connection. And what I love to give us is a sign of each of us being able to be with each other fully without having to I can't find the word that I'm looking for on this here, but I want to basically give each of us a chance to just be able to be in here fully as ourselves without having to worry about if someone else is going to talk about or expand upon what is true for me. All right. So in reflections, we're just going to invite you to speak about yourself and your own experience rather than that of everyone else. Does that work? Awesome. Awesome. Can I see hands for agreement? There we go. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this here today. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with just there's an element of, we're now entering, people here in different weeks of COVID, right? And I left the call earlier this morning, or it'd be your morning last night for me, where someone put out a very helpful framework around different phases that basically people can be in during this time. Right. And it's a simple framework. I'll actually send out some more information about it later on because it was more robust and I don't have all the details of it, but it was still it was a framework that was enough to that I can share right now to kind of get us a little situated. And the framework involved 3 different elements. It said, okay, you might be in a chaos phase. right? And the chaos phase is generally denoted by just trying to basically, it's about safety, your physical safety, your psychological safety, your safety for your family, and your financial safety, right? And this, when you're in the chaos phase, you're in a place where right now what you need is just to really to really get down to the basics and take care of that fundamental set of safety. The next phase is the acceptance phase. This is when you're in a place where you're like, okay, I see that we're going to be here for a while. I accept that this is what's going on around me, and you start shifting your mindset to really kind of sit down and prepare yourself for the long road ahead, right? And then the third phase is the new normal. That's when you're out and you've emerged and you're like, okay, so this is how things are now, and you're able to continue to move and to continue to grow through the new normal, right? You'll see more on this later on. I'll as I get more information, I'll help flesh it out there. But I just thought it was really a really helpful way to look at, to just have like a quick lens to look at things. And the element of this here was that you might go through on any given day and flow through any one of them. You might come in, you're like, all right, I'm feeling really great about how things are. I'm ready to go. And then something happens and it brings you back to chaos, for example, right? So the first question here for you all is just based on this high level overview, right? I want to give, based on this high level overview, where do you feel like you are in this present moment? And let's say, and when I say you are in this present moment, let's say like 60% of the time for you, where do you feel that you are? If it's helpful, you might also want to look for yourself and see where that might sit in different areas of your life, within your business. And this also applies not just to you, but to like your organizations, your teams, like and not just each individual, but as a collective unit, So just thinking about this for a little bit here, where do you find yourself in this moment on that? Chaos, acceptance, new normal, all right? Take some time to do that. I'm going to ask a few different questions here. So take some, so I will get something the right way and just to capture some of them along the way. Okay. The next question here is really, we're going to do some lead indicators. I'm going to just give us a chance to just kind of see where are we right now, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss here. So for the next few questions, we're going to do it on a scale of 1 to 10. All right. And with 1 being absolutely not, it doesn't, basically doesn't exist. And 10 being, I'm so fulfilled, I am overflowing. I'm so good with this, I'm overflowing. All right. Question number 1. Every day, I feel that I have what I need to move forward. Okay, on a 1 to 10. Question number 2. If 5 years from now, I look back at how I acted through this period, I would be really proud of the way that I'm showing up. Or another way of saying that would be, if 5 years from now, I was looking back at how I was remembered during this time, I would feel in alignment. I think that's really. Okay. Question number 3. I am actively managing, cultivating, and protecting my energy. Question number 4. If something happened to me in my personal life, I know who I can reach out to. I'm gonna make sure I'm asking the question powerfully enough. If something happened to me in my personal life, there it is. I feel comfortable reaching out to one person to support me. Question number 5. It's now in my personal life. If I needed support in my professional life, I know who I can turn to feel truly supported during that time. Number 6. I am using this time to share my gifts with the world. And the world might be your world, your family, your team, whatever it is. But I'm using this time to share my gifts with the world. So we're going to pause there, all right? And we're going to just come out and share. It'll be from the share. We'll see if there's anything else that we need to go into from there. But I'm going to give us a chance to pause in here. You can take all those numbers, right? This is not against any one particular criteria, so it's not like add them up and divide it or anything like that. There's no need to take an average on this here. They're different elements where we're just checking in, right? And so what I want to do is give for yourself. Go ahead and take a look at it. Take a look at those results there, and then we're going to go around and give ourselves just a chance to share. What I'd like to do is give us a chance to share in smaller groups first, and then we'll come back out here and we'll do just a quick debrief on that. So there's just a smaller group here. Let's give ourselves 10 minutes, right? I'm going to break you out into breakout rooms. And just when you go into the breakout room, one group will have 2, the other group will have 3. When you go into the breakout room, just use that time to connect with one another, get to know, say hello. And then also see out of all the different questions there, just any insights or anything that was curious to you or anything that showed up for you during that time, during these questions. And if nothing showed up for you, feel free to talk about something that would be really that there's information in that as well, and talk about what it is that you need in this moment. Okay. So we're going to break you up into breakout rooms. Go ahead and say hello. Any questions about this? All right, great. I'm looking at this here. I will give us exactly 12 minutes. So we'll come back at 45 after the hour. All right. And you'll see me. I'll give like a 5-minute notice beforehand. All right. Talk to you soon. And let me go ahead here. You should see something coming up on your screen that is inviting you into, inviting you to a breakout room. I'll see you all soon. Welcome back. I can find myself. I'm like, oh, what? No, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back here. It's good. It's good to see some smiles here. It's good to see all of your smiling faces here. Let's come back in this room here. Everything that you shared in the breakout room wasn't recorded, and we also took an agreement here. We're going to do some shares with one another and my thing is, as you share, please share about your experience and the impact that it had on you. Typically, the way that might be would be, I'll give an example just so that it's a little clear. But rather than being like, oh, Angie, when you said X, Y, and Z, I thought about to allow it to be something that sounds a little bit more like, through this conversation, I really got a chance to rediscover X, Y, something about, X, Y, and Z. All right. So we're going to really just make it you focus, and we will connect with that. But I want to keep the safety and the sanctity of those breakout rooms to be what they were. You can share anything you want about your own experience, but let's not share anything about someone else's. It will keep you in control. All right. Awesome. Let's start. Let's just go around here. We have a group here. I think it might make sense for us each to go around and just share either one insight or one question or one thing that just like one thing that they just want to remember from that experience, whether it's mental or if it was just something about like the experience overall. All right. So let's just go ahead and just do some share outs here. I see Angie, then April, then Jamin.
When you say the experience, you mean just the conversation we just had in the breakout, or
Yep.
the question? Okay.
So what I would say, what I'd like to do with this here is about anything that's happened during our time together here. So over the time that we've had here, you might want to share an insight that you got as soon as you came onto this conversation. Just want to just do a share out right here.
So I think a big takeaway that I just got out of my conversation with Cayenne is that the word chaos hadn't really resonated with me, but when we were talking about the other initial feelings, it was like a comfortable chaos that came to mind when in our discussion, because I think that I really didn't mind it in terms of, I mean, aside of the terrible things that are happening related to COVID, in terms of how it affected me personally and having to stay inside, stop going to work every day, break that routine that and the round I was in, I was actually really comfortable with how things started, but it was still chaotic. I needed to realign. And so chaos initially wasn't a word that when you said it earlier, Niiamah, I could identify with, but once we actually sort of explored more just that initial reaction, I now feel like I have moved from chaos into where I identify right now, which is acceptance. So that's probably one of my biggest takeaways so far.
Awesome. You'll see me throughout here. You might see me do like some hand signals. If I use the thumb and the pinky, it's something I learned in one of my communities where it means that that I identify or that I'm feeling you here, right? I think the kids use #mood around that, you know, but as we're talking, especially since we're giving each other space here, if there is something that really like captures you, you can just go ahead and let them know this way, and we'll go on from there. All right, awesome.
But is it a pinky or what finger?
Pinky and thumb is
Oh,
and just whatever is necessary to get them across. All right, awesome. April, how about you?
Well, it's funny. I'm talking with Jamin and David, and I said the words out loud, but I hadn't consciously realized that those words were kind of in there. The question was in there, which is, how committed are you? Which just really resonated with me. I'm in the acceptance phase. I added to that a rearming. Because that's where I am. I'm finally out of the chaos swirl and feeling like, okay, let's go. And so that question just really, I didn't realize that it was a question that I was swirling with until I said it out loud to these guys. So I'm always amazed by what we already know in our bodies. We just don't consciously connect to until we say it out loud. So thank you, Jamin and David, for letting me say that. And how committed are you is the question that really just resonates with me.
Cool. I think I was next, Niiamah, is that right?
Yes, indeed.
All right. Cool. I really enjoyed being here. I think, what's there? Guys, I'm really grateful to be here in Bali, actually. And I think the piece that I shared about with April and David is one of the ironic struggles that I've had in this, is really owning how well I'm doing inside of all this when a lot of the people I'm connecting with are not. And like just being able to go, hey, yeah, I'm fucking great. And life's good. Not dismissing or putting my head in the sand about the thing, but just going like, as far as my field goes, I'm solid. So it was just nice to kind of like own that with these guys. I think that gives me more power to do that out there and with other people I'm connecting with. So that's kind of really present. So four key things when you're asking like insights or stuff that come in the call. To begin, I'm leading a number of various group conversations for people in my respective communities, and just that strong grounding exercise that you led at the beginning, Niiamah, I'm like, brother, I'm taking that and I'm bringing that in, because that was just really solid, just to really help create the container. And then similar to the powerful frame that you created, I think there's magic in that, and I appreciate what you created there. But I think the two kind of like things that I'm not currently doing that I'm looking forward to doing is I've been communicating with my extended community about how I'm going, but I haven't actually offered extensive support for people to jump on and be like, on what I'm picturing here, when like gifts to the world. I'm like, I want to hold like a massive Zoom call for any one of my 3,500 Facebook friends to just like jump on and just like lead an inquiry, not a conversation, because my hope is that there's too many people to navigate that, but just lead an inquiry to help people, you know, for what they can control in this time.
Damon, really quickly, because we're with you. You broke up just a bit. You said to lead an inquiry, not a conversation, and then we lost you. Can you
Got it. Sorry. Yeah. Bali internet, classic. To lead an inquiry, not a conversation, because my anticipation is that there'll be too many people to check in with everybody individually. That would be my hope. But if there's 5 people, I'll do that. We'll check in. And then the fourth one is actually, I think I'm ready to step into a business mastermind. My business hasn't slowed down. We don't anticipate for it to slow down. And just recognizing that I think being amongst a community of other people who are really looking to champion things forwards right now would really serve me. So these were new things that came to me in this call, which I'm really grateful for.
Thank you, Jim. And like, I wanted to also just say, I'm glad to hear that things are, well, let me just say this here. Thank you for that share. We'll let that be. There's some elements about that are connected. What we'll do is we'll all go around, and then we can kind of popcorn in as we go through here. Quinn, and then David.
Thank you. I resonate and share this, that I've always been wanting to host more people, but my house is too small, and I just cannot host and organize and all that, too much work. But now I was very inspired by you, Nemo, and I posted and shared with a few friends yesterday that, come to my online house, because we all move our house online now. So I feel very inspired that I can, in a way, share my presence. Just come to my online house. So that's one thing that came out. The other thing is, it's so beautiful in the morning with things slowing down. And I was just so struck by it. I was listening to Angela. I was just so struck by how beautiful the morning is. And I just felt the impulses to praise the world and to share that.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Quinn. And then David, and just, we are going to wrap up at the top of the hour, but do, like, as you said, you're in control. Do whatever you need to get yourself prepared for whatever else is coming next. All right, David, when you take us out.
Yeah, no, I guess the biggest takeaway I got from this, from listening to everyone, was it was impressive and surprising to see that last question. How you can share your gifts in the world. So like, regardless of the trying times or what's going on around us, it's really awesome to see like people still connecting, and what they bring to the table and they offer best. They're still trying, everyone's still projecting that out, especially Jamie, he had mentioned, his business.
One second. Oh, sorry. Like, anything that we share here, that's good. I just don't want to be sharing anything that happened in the
apologies, sorry. Without getting into any specifics, it was just good to listen, to everyone. Like, even though it's not going the way everyone, or even myself, how I'm intending it to go, especially being an entrepreneur, business professionally, it's still good to see that everyone's still projecting out there, So I think that's a huge positive.
Sorry. And Dave, I'm going to give you just let you know this. Your microphone at times has kind of like blaring out. And since this is the way that people are communicating right now, I'm going to let you know. So like at times it just kind of like spikes upwards, just in case you want to try something different for your other calls. Okay. Yep. So we're going to wrap up here, and I'm going to wrap up in two ways here. First, I just want to just say, like, it is really wonderful to see each of you, and what I'm grateful for is that more than anything else is that you all are starting to have each other. All right. I am doing every Thursday everyone's at different days and such. So the same time, same day, once a week, we're all coming back into this space here for the month of April. And what I want to do, there's a Facebook group that you'll get an invitation. There's a Facebook group that we go and continue the conversations with and continue to get to know one another. My main objective is for you all to have each other throughout this space. All right. I'm also going to invite you to also share some feedback and also some like aspirations. Like, we're meeting and I'm continuing to bring people together in different pockets at different times. This is a space where there are a lot of people who are at least solid, if not continuing to thrive during this time. Right. And so there's space in this here to continue to grow. And I want this to be one of those places where if you need to grow, you can still. Right. And my two things are we need to ground and grow. So let me know what would really serve you, either a conversation or even just like the type of experiences you'd like to have, not from a format, but like just something that would be really fun for you. And I'll keep bringing people together and giving us different ways to explore community together. My thing is that like we have one another. All right. I appreciate you all. Here's to a great rest of the day. We'll talk to you later on. All right. Be well, everyone. You can unmute yourself and just share some love.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, y'all.
And the woman.